The shortage of manpower in the Russian armed forces is forcing the Kremlin to take extreme measures. Women have been spotted in the ranks of the occupiers in the battles in the Pokrovsky direction. A video of one of the female occupiers was published by the channel of the 3rd Special Forces Brigade, Spartan, of the National Guard of Ukraine. The video confirms that the Russians have begun using women in assault operations against Ukrainian Defense Forces positions. The footage was filmed during fighting near Pokrovsk in Donbas. The footage shows a precise drone strike on a bush behind which a group of Russian soldiers was apparently hiding. A few seconds later, a woman in uniform, presumably wounded, runs out of the shelter. She runs about 10 meters and falls. Nothing is known about her subsequent condition. Spartan soldiers commented on what happened. During the active fighting, we saw a lot. Stormtroopers on crutches, former prisoners, occupiers on drugs, a woman for the first time. Back in 2023, information emerged that the Kremlin had begun recruiting female prisoners to participate in the war against Ukraine. They were recruited directly in prisons and colonies with the promise of early release. According to human rights activists and journalists, such women could be used as medics, sappers, or shooters in the rear areas. However, the direct participation of Russian women in assault operations has not yet been recorded. The appearance of a woman in a combat group on the front line may indicate a critical shortage of manpower in the Russian army. Fierce fighting has been going on near Pokrovsk for a long time. Ukraine is defending one of the key hubs of the Donetsk region. Russia is suffering colossal losses there. Earlier, media reported that female prisoners were being recruited into Putin's army. Journalists managed to talk to former prisoners of Correctional Colony No. 2 in Ulyanovsk, Leningrad region, Russian Federation. They claim that a group of recruiters has been working in this penal colony since the fall of 2023, offering women to go to the front as snipers and assault troops. According to sources, the Ministry of Defense managed to recruit 20 to 50 prisoners. The publication Important Stories contacted the relatives of 2 women recruited into the army. They confirmed the information. The prisoners were promised a pardon as a reward for their participation in the war. Before being sent to the front, they were reportedly guaranteed a month of military training. They signed a contract for a year. In the Kharkiv region, the Ukrainian armed forces are doing everything to stop the occupiers and inflict as many losses on them as possible. On July the 30th, the hunt was successful for the 429th Separate Regiment of Unmanned Systems, Achilles. They managed to hit 5 units of enemy equipment. The Telegram channel of Regiment Commander Yuri Fedorenko shows how FPV drones destroyed a Russian tank and an infantry fighting vehicle. As a result of attacks by UAV operators, 2 infantry fighting vehicles and AFVs were disabled. On August the 1st, Fedorenko published a report, according to which in July, the 429th OP BPS was able to destroy and damage 4,513 units of enemy equipment, eliminate 206 occupiers, and another 249 were wounded. Achilles conducted combat operations in the area of Volchansk, Melovy, Dvorechnaya, and Kupiansk. Fedorenko added that in July, the number of targets hit increased by 862 compared to the previous period. Let us recall that it was in the Kharkiv region on July the 26th that the commander of the 83rd Motorized Rifle Regiment of the 69th Motorized Rifle Division of Russia, Colonel Mikhail Lebedev, was liquidated. On July the 30th, information about the destruction of Putin's officer was officially confirmed on July the 30th. It turned out that in January 2025, Mikhail's father, also an officer in the Russian army, Viktor Lebedev, became the 200th on the front in Ukraine. Olga Drobaysheva, a deputy of the Kostroma Regional Duma, said that the colonel who led the offensive of Russian troops in the Veliko-Buluk direction had been transferred to the rank of 200th. In the Russian swamps, they are actively sculpting a hero out of Lebedev and have already dug a hole on the Alley of Heroes, which will last until the next flood, which is common for both Moscow and St. Petersburg. Earlier, on November the 30th, 2024, Ukrainian defenders eliminated Alexander Lebedev, who held the post of deputy commander of the 9th Motorized Rifle Brigade of the 51st Army of the Russian Armed Forces. Putin is dissatisfied with the pace of troop advancement at the front, although he says publicly that everything is going according to plan. This was reported by the TG channel of the Russian Federation Kremlevskaya Snuffbox, citing a source in the Kremlin. He called Gerasimov, chief of the General Staff, separately, and Belousov, Minister of Defense, separately. The task is as follows. By September the 1st, show a noticeable result of the advancement at the front. At a minimum, take Pokrovsk and encircle Sumy, says the public's source. The channel's interlocutor added that the reaction of Gerasimov and Belousov is not fully known. According to rumors, someone very influential in Putin's circle is selling him the idea of a new campaign against Kiev or Kharkiv. Although almost all of the high-ranking military consider such ideas to be destructive and deadly, Ukrainian soldiers have been defending Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region for months, killing thousands of Russian soldiers. But now the enemy has gradually approached the city, and judging by geolocations, the first occupiers have even entered the settlement. Last year, the Ukrainian army managed to thwart Russian plans to capture the city. Although Pokrovsk itself is badly damaged and almost 60% of the city's population have left, Ukrainian resistance in Pokrovsk and its surroundings has thwarted Russian ambitions to capture the rest of Donetsk region, which is one of Putin's primary military goals. Although Pokrovsk's importance for Ukraine as a military supply center has already disappeared, the fall of the city could free up Russian troops and open the way for further Russian advances in the region. However, the supply of military equipment from Russian stockpiles decreased by more than 25% in 2024, which could mean a significant reduction in the number of tanks, armored vehicles, artillery systems, and other Soviet-style equipment that is available to the Russian military. According to the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine, North Korea remains the main foreign supplier of ammunition to the Russian Federation. Putin's disagreements with the generals have become more apparent recently due to the Russian army's inability to fulfill its assigned tasks and the growing dissatisfaction of society with this situation. Retired Russian Colonel General Leonid Ivashov, for example, has long regarded Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine as a serious blunder that would harm Russia inside and out. Domestically, the general predicted it would weaken the economy and aggravate the demographic crisis. Outside, he warned it would lose friends for Russia and risk war with NATO, blaming Putin for risking the final destruction of Russian statehood and the extermination of the indigenous population of the country. Ivashov warned the real danger for Russia was not NATO or the West, but the unviability of the state model, the complete incapacity and lack of professionalism of the system of power and administration, the passivity and disorganization of society. Under these conditions, no country survives for long, he wrote.